Hi everyone and welcome to a video on the 10 skills that anyone must acquire before getting into a B school. These skills are being listed basis my own experience of making it to IIM Ahmedabad and surviving there for 2 years. So if anyone acquires these skills pre-hand, it's going to be of benefit before you make it to your dream college. Before I reveal what those 10 skills are, I just wanted to share that I have been in talks with a company that makes courses in order to acquire such skills, and we have been in a collaborative deal wherein you can get free access to these courses. So stay tuned for that announcement in an upcoming video. For now, let's move on to skill number 1, which is MS Excel. At IIM Ahmedabad, we have one course on Excel, and before beginning the classes, the professor just casually asked how many students had had no exposure to MS Excel before. And you would be surprised to know that there were a few students, and those students faced the most amount of difficulty both in that course as well as during any analytical project at IIM Ahmedabad, because the learning or the teaching there is so fast paced that it does not give you the time to acquire this skill. So, if anyone wants to get into a B school, I would highly recommend to acquire this skill pre-hand. Get the basic knowledge of different formulas out there. Get knowledge of VLOOKUP, pivot tables, smaller aspects so that you are able to at least analyze the data well. The second skill that I would urge you to acquire is PPT making. PowerPoint presentations are an essential part of your B school journey. I remember that we had 40 courses and I think we made more than 200 presentations during our entire stay. And the simple reason was because be it any case presentation, be it any case study competition, be it any project of any course, or even a simple presentation during the class to explain an idea, we had to make use of PPTs. And we could not just make simple PPTs, we had to make PPTs that made clutter impossible, that made sure that we systematically organized the data, presented it very well, and used the space judiciously. So learn how to make beautiful compact PPTs, and in order to do that as well, stay tuned for that video that I'm going to make. It will surely help you learn how you can make beautiful PPTs. The third skill that I would suggest is communication, and as a subset of it, I would recommend you to learn email writing more importantly, because while you are at any B school, you would be required to send out a lot of emails to your professors, to your peers. Sometimes you'll be leading the group and you'll be required to announce what each and every person's responsibilities are over an email. And the same will be carried forward afterwards in your job while you're framing emails. So you should know how to beautifully frame emails which sound correct, which are grammatically correct, and which also forms a subset of business communication. So you should know how to communicate very well in an organization, in a setup, whether it's a B school or whether it's your job. For that as well, I would be recommending some sources which you can check out in the description, and also wait for that video. The fourth skill I would recommend is people management. Now, while you stay at a B school, you are required to be a part of a study group. My study group had 6 members, and that study group changed every single term. The simple reason to form a study group is to see whether you're able to manage people. Sometimes you'll be playing a role of a leader, sometimes you'll be playing a role of a member, sometimes you'll be an active participant, sometimes you'll be a passive participant. At each time, you are going to be playing a role wherein you are going to be managing people. You will be dealing with a set of people which come from different backgrounds. They have different set of values and understandings, and they may not agree with you all the time. So how do you get the work done? Sometimes I faced so many challenges in my groups, and there were conflicts that we had to resolve, which was one of the most learning experiences, I would say, of my stay at IIM Ahmedabad. So I would highly recommend you to learn how people management takes place. And for this, there is a beautiful course out there which I would recommend you to follow. I would surely put it down in the description box. Fifth skill is that of dressing up. Now, this may sound very weird, that why would you require to know how to dress up? This is not required for your stay at a B school. We were mostly in casuals while our classes were going on, but you need to know how to dress up according to different occasions for your job later on. This is something that we practiced a lot while our placement scenarios were going on. So whether it was a PPT by being presented by a company, or whether it was a placement drive, we used to dress up differently. And if you want to learn this skill, the simple thing I would recommend you to do is to watch a video that I've already made on what is the dress up wear for any interview that you are going to appear for. And in there, I've explained the three kinds of dress ups that are there basis different occasions. So you can simply watch that video to learn this skill. Sixth skill I would recommend is CV making. Now, while your placement drives will go on, you would understand how important it is to make your CV. Do you know how much time it took us to finally frame our final draft of the CV? It took us 2 months. We spent 2 months in order to refine the CV points that we had put in place during our first cut. In fact, our placement committees often suggested us to take a printout of the first version of our CV and then compare it with the last version of the CV to see how much difference had actually come into play. So you should know how a professional CV looks like. For that as well, I have already made a video out there that you can watch. I would put it in the description box as well as link it above, but it will also be mentioned as a course in the video that I'll be sharing next. The seventh skill and one of the most important skills is that of networking. So, you know, the power of any B School alum group is super awesome. You won't realize this right now, but you would realize it once you get into a job. When referrals come into play, when learning from your peers or starting up comes into play, that's when you require access to networking. And that's when you learn the power of networking. So, if you start right now by practicing simple things, by practicing talking to the people around, to the vendors around, talking to anybody who's around and learning more about them. Understanding how generating interest in someone else's life can actually help you learn from them and at the same time build a strong connection, which might stand of mutual benefit later on, will be a core skill at a B school. At a B school, if you learn to interact with your peers and you develop a specialty that everyone recognizes you for, that will stand out and you will be remembered years later after even you have left the B school. I would suggest you to do a simple reading of a blog post that recommends you a few ways to make your LinkedIn profile. Start with LinkedIn networking and slowly you would understand how networking works. The eighth skill is that of reading at a stretch. If you remember correctly, I said that there were 40 courses at IIM Ahmedabad and most of the courses had both a study material and a case book and a book. And in order to go through entire syllabus and three classes a day, you had to do an extensive amount of reading a day prior to your classes. So in order to be able to do that, I would suggest you to start reading books, start reading editorials, become comfortable with longer amounts of text so that you become so used to it that it does not cause any problems at a B school. So that will be your skill number 8. Skill number 9 is not really a skill, it's just a point I would recommend you to follow from now on itself, which is punctuality. We used to be told that deadlines are sacrosanct at IIM Ahmedabad, which means that you can't even submit your assignment at 12:01. You have to submit it before 11:59 if you want a grade out of that course. So deadlines are so sacrosanct at IIM Ahmedabad, and same holds true for most B schools. So start being punctual. I remember an episode when one of our classmates was asked to leave the class when he entered at 8:46 because the time to enter the class was 8:45. So make sure that you follow punctuality very, very seriously. The final skill that I would recommend you to acquire is that of some academic concepts which were important, and I wish someone had told this point to me, especially because I was a non-engineer. So some quant classes require you to have basic understanding of statistics, of regression, of how normalization works, of how different distributions work. So learn these concepts pre-hand. Similarly, for an engineer, learnings about financial accounting, financial analysis, financial planning, these are going to be of help. Similarly, for a student from an arts background, if you probably learn about economics, that's going to be of some help. Learn about HR or marketing or digital marketing if you want to, but that's a specialized version of learning. You don't need these unless you are interested in those fields, but you definitely need to learn some basics of financial analysis, financial accounting, Some people require basic understanding of statistics or distribution, which I especially did not have. So it's better to go through that. Go through probability as a concept, go through regression, very important. Go through calculus if you want to. These are some things I would highly recommend to a student who does not feel very comfortable with these academic concepts. These are going to be a part of your courses at IIMs or B schools. So that is going to be the final skill I would recommend you to have. So these are the 10 skills that I wanted to recommend to anyone who wants to do an MBA. Hope this video stands of benefit to you. If it does, do hit the like button and stay tuned for the next video, which is going to give you access to the free courses and help you guide your way through the B school journey. Thanks a lot for watching this again.